Hello and welcome to our tea tasting ceremony. Are you Susie? It's great to meet you. So today we're just going to be showing you 6 of our most popular teas. We're just going to be doing little sample cups in these little tiny bowls. Now most people, when they drink their tea these days, they drink them from mugs or teacups, but in the olden days, especially in Japan, they happened to drink them out of little bowls like these. A bit deeper and a bit bigger usually. But today we're going to be starting with an English breakfast tea, which the tea looks like this. If I just get a spoon some out for you. Looks like this. It's just very dark brown with some little bits of green. It's very, very pretty tea in my opinion. And we have these little tags that tell us everything we need to know about the tea. The description for the English breakfast tea is a robust, full-bodied cup with a concentrated character of malt and deep undertones that welcome a bit of milk and sugar. Satisfying and delicious, this tea is a great breakfast cup that can be enjoyed throughout the day. This tea is called English breakfast tea because it's very common to be consumed during breakfast, especially in England. When most people think tea time, they think of an English breakfast tea, which it is a black tea. There are 3 different kinds of teas, well, usually. There's black tea, white tea, and green tea. Green tea is often considered an herbal tea, as is white tea, although white tea is a little more uncommon. Some teas are not actually made from tea at all, from tea leaves at all, but instead from different sorts of things that you can steep. Such as one of the teas that I'm going to be showing you today, which is a chamomile tea and a Rooibos tea. So, as I said, the tea type is black tea, and the flavour notes for English black tea are a smoky and rich flavour with a sweet aroma. The steeping time is 4 minutes, but I found that if you steep your tea for too long, it turns bitter, especially when it's a green tea. We're just going to be taking a small cup like this one. Actually, I'm going to use one of the larger ones because the English breakfast is one of our most popular. I'm taking this large clear one. And some people, you can steep your tea loose, which means without the filter. You just put the tea leaves directly into the bowl and pour water directly over it, but I think it's a bit messier that way. And you can waste the tea leaves a little bit if you put them in a filter, as long as you keep them in a cool, dry a cool, dry place. You can always reuse your tea bags for a couple of times, but each time the tea will taste a little less strong. So I'm just going to take this little filter right here. I'm going to fill it with a spoonful of black tea leaves. Another spoonful, because it's not quite full. Actually, because this is a small glass, I'm just going to use that little bit. I'm just going to close it up, like so. You can also tie them off, staple them closed, because a lot of tea bags that you see are closed with a staple. I'm just going to put that in the cup, pour some hot water over it. Not too much. As you can see, almost immediately it begins to turn a very dark colour. I'm going to let that steep for a little bit. While that's steeping, I wanted to ask you, is this your first tea tasting ceremony? It is? Well, I'm very glad that you decided to come to us. All of our teas are for sale. When we do tea tasting ceremonies, we bring large quantities of our tea so that we can always sell them to those who like their favourites. And when you pay for the tea tasting ceremony, you are allowed to take home for free your favourite tea. You're also given a complimentary mug or teacup of your choice. Or if you like the more Japanese style bowls, you can take one of those as well. Now we're just going to remove the tea bag and drain the liquid out. Don't squeeze the tea bag because it will get very bitter. I'm just going to set that to the side. Stir it a bit. Now this is clearly unsweetened, and I will allow you to taste it sweetened. Unsweetened, sorry. Yes, it is. It is quite bitter if you don't add sugar or honey, which we have both of today. You'd like to try the sugar? Alright. I'm just going to take a little bit of sugar since we have such a little bit of tea here. Put that in there. Going to stir that until it dissolves. Would you like to taste it now? Yes, it is very much improved when you put just that little bit of sugar. Now I'm also going to put in a little bit of honey. It's the Golden Blossom honey, genuine, natural, pure honey. And I'm just going to uncap it and pour just a little bit in there. Just a few drops will do. Black tea, any tea really in general, especially accompanied with honey, is wonderful for when you have a sore throat because the honey and the tea can soothe it. I wouldn't recommend using sugar because that can actually irritate your throat. But honey is wonderful for a sore throat. Especially with lemon, but be careful not to add milk because lemon can curdle milk. Right, this is it with the honey and the touch of sugar. Yes, the honey does add a different flavour. It does sweeten it, but I think it's a very good flavour. You liked this one? Would you like to finish it? Okay, great. Alright, so moving on, I'm going to just tuck this tag back into the bag. And put that off to the side. Oh, I almost forgot. I just remembered. Another thing you can do with English breakfast tea is add just a little bit of milk to it. Tea can sometimes have a bit of a rough texture. It's very hard to describe in words, but can have a bit of a watery texture, of course, because it's made mainly with water. But with milk, it tastes very different. You see what I mean? The texture changes a lot. It's a lot creamier. It slides down your throat better. It's different mouthfeel, as it's called. Okay, so our next tea that we're going to be trying is an oolong tea. And the oolong tea looks like this. And get a different spoon. Looks like this, and the tightly furred leaves. So you can see, just examining one. And they're in black and green. And the description for the oolong tea is, A highly prized tea, Jade oolong are a beautiful deep green in appearance with large, lightly rolled leaves. Once infused, these lightly oxidized leaves gradually unfurl to release their essential oils. This is a Chinese tea, and the flavor notes for are a fresh green floral aroma, sweet flavor, and clean, delicate mouthfeel. There it is, that word. Told you we were going to meet it. So what? I was wrong. This is not a black tea. Jade oolong, as this is a green tea, which you wouldn't guess looking at the leaves. They are rather black, dark, I suppose, because they're not necessarily black, but they are very dark leaves. But I think I'm going to do this one with the loose tea, because I'd like you to see the unfurling process of the leaves. Take just a teaspoon of them, lay them along the bottom of the bowl. That's what they look like when they're unfurled, furled and tight. And I'm going to take just a bit of hot water. Now, it's hard for you to see because I can't tilt the bowl very much. But if you look here, the leaves are starting to unroll and unfurl. And I'm just going to let that steep. We're not going to see a whole lot of colour change in this one, just because it is a green tea. And this one, it said to steep for 2 minutes, but I think I might do a little longer than usual, because no colour seems to really be coming out of it yet. I'm starting to see a bit of colour. Stir it a bit. Alright, oolong seems to be an extremely light tea. Well, not a whole lot of colours coming out of it, but it's been steeping for a little bit. So I'm going to let you taste it. I managed to avoid the leaves. It does have a bit of a sort of a bite to it. It's not a very sweet tea at all. As I said before, the flavor notes are a fresh green floral aroma, sweet flavor, and clean, delicate mouthfeel. This is a very light tea, so there's not a whole lot of mouthfeel. But does certainly have a floral aroma, but I wouldn't necessarily say a sweet flavor. It's kind of more of a sort of a bitter, really. Let's add a little bit of sugar, see if that changes things up a bit. Stir that up. Let's try it now. Let's avoid the leaves, we don't want to eat them. Oh yes, this is greatly improved, just a little bit of sugar. Yes, this is a very good tea. I actually like it a lot better with even just that little bit of sugar. It's the tiniest things really that can change your tea around. It can be milk, the type of milk you use, honey, also the type of honey you use, sugar, although I'm pretty sure there's really only one kind that you can use in your tea, that is, of course, there's brown sugar. But this is a very good tea, and I'm going to set it off to the side now. Next we have, well, let me tuck this in here first. Next we have a jasmine tea, which is also a Chinese tea. It's actually more, I believe jasmine tea actually originates in Japan. And the description for this tea is a deeply perfumey tea from the Fujian province of China. Oh, I was wrong, it is from China. Very layered and lingering floral aroma. This tea has been infused with jasmine many times over to create a truly unforgettable experience. Flavor notes are soft, full-bodied, and sweet flavor with a slight dryness. I'm going to take one of the small bows again, as this one's probably one of our least popular out of our most popular, if that makes any sense. And the leaves. Take another spoon again. Leaves look like this. They kind of look more like twigs, really. They're very long. I believe this is also a green tea. And I'm also going to do this one loose without the tea bag. And I'm not going to put as much this time. Oh, and the steep time for this one is 3 minutes, so this one will take a little bit longer. Which one has been your favourite so far? I know that we've only done 2, but they were 2 very, very different teas. Yes? I like that one too. Really my favourite is the English black breakfast. This also seems to get very little colour. But sometimes that's not a bad thing, because darker colours mean that it has a stronger flavour. If you want a lighter tea, you should use green teas and white teas. And if you want a very strong tea, you should use black tea. Tea is very, very good for your body because it contains antioxidants, and as I said before, it's wonderful for sore throats, but usually only hot tea. Iced teas, while they are very refreshing, usually contain sweetness, and they're not as good for either your body or your throat if it's a sore throat that's the problem. Now we're just going to taste this one now that it's steeped a little bit, except there is a piece stuck. This is very similar to the oolong, except a little bit sweeter, so we won't need nearly as much sugar in this one. But we're going to put a little bit, not too much, and stir it up until it's all dissolved. And take a taste. And again, the sugar and just that little bit greatly improves the taste. But what I think will taste really wonderful in this is just a little bit of the honey. I'm just going to put very little amount Not too much. Just a drop. I'm going to stir that. This will also deepen the colour. If you like the flavour of green teas, but you don't like how, or if you like, yes, if you like the flavour of green teas, but you don't like how light it is, you can always add a little bit of honey, and it'll deepen the colour, but it will change the flavour, just slightly. Now this is with the honey and the sugar. Yes, the honey tastes the best in this one, I think. So that was the jasmine tea, the Chinese jasmine tea. I'm going to put the tag back in the bag. And set this to the side. Next we have, this is a very, very, very popular one. This is our peppermint tea. This is great for when you have a sinus infection. Believe me, I know. When I was sick, this was all I drank, because it does wonders. The description is, peppermint tea is a hybrid of watermint and spearmint. Indigenous to Europe, it is now widely cultivated throughout the world. Sometimes referred to as the old world's medicine, it has been used for centuries to settle tummy upset and freshen breath. It is an herbal tea, and the flavour notes are cooling, crisp aroma, deeply refreshing flavour, and smooth finish. For this tea, because it is a very small leafed tea, as you can see, if I get, let me get a different spoon. The leaves are very small. You can smell that peppermint aroma. I'm going to use a filter for this one. I can't seem to get it open. Here we go. I'm getting tea leaves everywhere. I'm a mess. But I'm going to fold it and tuck it in. Roll it down a little and place it in the cup. I am using one of our bigger cups because this tends to be a crowd favourite. And here is the water. It is beginning to cool off a little now, but it's still plenty hot. The steam time for this one is 5 minutes, which is the longest one, but I am going to set this to the side and show you, sorry, just cleaning up a little. I'm going to show you our fifth tea. This is a Rooibos tea, and as you can see, it's very different in colour. It is reddish orange, and it kind of reminds me of when you're on the playground and there was like the wood chips to, I don't know, I suppose protect you somehow, although this row is quite splintery. But this is a Rooibos, and the description is Rooibos, colloquially known as red tea, although not from the actual tea bush, is a naturally caffeine-free herbal plant that grows only in South Africa. It's an herbal tea, and the flavour notes are fruity, sweet, and smooth, with a refreshing herbal texture. This is one of my personal favourites. I think that the flavour of it is just as intended. It's very fruity and floral. It's very sweet, which is definitely something I like. It's been known to have some calming effects, similar to chamomile. And I think it's a really good tea. Now our tea has been steeping for a little bit now. Just going to stir it a bit. Just going to continue that till that's it. And in the meantime, just going to fill a bag with the Rooibos tea. And I'll set that in its dish and wait for the peppermint tea to finish steeping so we can steep this one. Actually, I'll probably start the process at the same time because the Rooibos tea also takes 5 minutes. So while we're tasting the peppermint, we can steep the Rooibos. I'll take just a handful, a spoonful I should say. Remember, we're just making small cups, so you don't need a lot. If you were to make this in large quantities, you would need much more tea leaves. I'm just going to set this in this glass. Going to pour the water on. We're going to switch this in place with the peppermint. And the peppermint is just about set up now. Let me get a different spoon. Peppermint can come out now. You get that wonderful peppermint scent. But when you taste it, there's not a whole lot of peppermint flavour. It's there, it's not quite prevalent. It turns a wonderful lemon yellow colour. And we're going to try this without sugar first, as we have been doing. Here you are. I really think it's one of the best teas. I'm just going to add a very little bit of sugar. This is naturally a rather sweet tea, so I don't need a lot. Until it's fully dissolved. Here you are. Yes, just that little bit of sugar always helps it. And although this isn't very common for the peppermint teas, I think that adding a little bit of milk helps to improve the feel of it, the mouthfeel. Not a whole lot. I love the way it swirls. And stir it. You want just enough milk that it's still somewhat clear, but it's not completely opaque. Just want it sort of cloudy. Here you are. Yes, it is improved, isn't it? Yes, I'd say this is one of our best teas. It is another favourite of mine because it's just very refreshing and light. It's not overpowering. Our favourite that's currently out of stock, my favourite that's currently out of stock is the spearmint, which is similar to the peppermint but has a stronger mint flavour. Did you like this one? Not really. Alright, well, I won't let the tea go to waste and I'll drink it myself. Alright, and the Rooibos has been steeping over here. I'm getting another spoon. See that it turns a wonderful orange shade, which I think is just incredible, like orange tea. It's crazy. I'm just going to remove the tea bag carefully. let the liquid drain out, but try not to squeeze it, as this can make the tea bitter. Put that to the side. Stir it a bit and have a smell of this. It's just a wonderful, very signature scent, I think. Now have a taste of it without the sugar. It's very light and fresh, isn't it? And it doesn't have that very strange, almost gritty mouthfeel that a lot of tea tends to give it. I'm just going to add a little bit of the sugar. It's already sweet enough, you don't really need a lot. Stir it until it dissolves. Here we are. Take a spoonful. Just that little bit of sugar really, really helps it, I think. I think I'll add just a drop of honey, just to improve the flavour a little bit. Just 2 little drops. Stir it. I really just can't get over the colour of this. I mean, look at that, it's orange. I think that's so crazy. Let's get a spoonful of it. Yes, this is a very good tea. This is, I believe, our 3rd most popular tea. And if I weren't out of bowls, I probably would have shown you the big size so that you could drink all of it, but there we are. Put that to the side, and we are done with the peppermint and the Rooibos. And our last tea that I thought you'd like a lot is chamomile. This is another tea that is not a tea, as was the Rooibos. As you can see, we're almost out. It's been a very popular one this year. Must be a lot of insomniacs out there that need help getting to sleep. Which, yes, chamomile tea is a very calming tea. It can help you get to sleep. The description for this is: the finest chamomile flowers in the world come from the Nile River, Valley of Egypt. Considered a remedy for all ills by the ancient Egyptians, this golden herb remains a modern favourite to promote calm and relieve anxiety. It's an herbal tea, and it claims to smell of cut apples with calming flavour and a sweet floral finish. So the flowers, I'll show you here, remind me of daisies, which, yes, we're going to be drinking flowers. They look like small little daisies, and even the tea leaves themselves, or what you could call tea leaves, almost look like petals. So we're going to take the last cup here, and there's another clear one, and we're going to steep it in the bag because this is a pretty loose tea. Getting a clean spoon. Going to scoop out just a spoonful. That in, set it in the bowl, then pour the tea for the last time, the hot water. And this tea is supposed to steep for 5 minutes, but I think I'll do a little shorter time because this tea can get a little bitter. This won't have the same effects on the water as most teas will, because it's not actual tea leaves. It may not colour the water all too much, but it does smell very much like apples. I wonder why that is. Have you enjoyed today so far? Yes. Yeah, it can be a bit tiring, but this tea will really help you calm down from any anxieties you have. You know how work is. Right. Yeah. Right, just going to stir this, coax maybe some colour out into the flowers. I think for this tea, I'm going to add a little bit of milk to this one too. Just because I have a feeling that the mouthfeel for this one isn't very comfortable. Would you like to try it and see if it's ready? Okay. It is? Alright. So as I said, not much colour comes out of this one. In fact, we're going to squeeze it just a bit. Just get all the flavour we can out of it. I know it's not to do that with the teas, but this is chamomile and it won't get too bitter if you squeeze it. So you already tried it without the sugar, so I'm just going to put a little sugar in it. And then on the salt. Yes, this is a very, very relaxing tea. It's very calming and just that little bit of sweetness, it's very, very good. I'm going to add just a little bit of milk. Very little. Just a couple splashes. It seems like so much more when you're adding it to what seems like water. I'm taking just a spoonful. There you are. Yes, the mouthfeel is greatly improved with the addition of the tea, or the milk, I'm sorry, and with the sugar. Yes, it does feel very, very relaxing. If you'd like to finish. And that's the end of today's tea tasting ceremony. I hope you enjoyed your time here. I know that it's been a very, very long ceremony, but I hope you enjoyed the teas that you tasted today. Oh, that reminds me. Which tea would you like to be taking home? Because as I said, you get a complimentary bag of your favourite tea that you tried today. This one? No, this one. Okay, here you are. There's your tea. And I'm going to give you a free bottle of honey. And you can pick up some sugar packets on the way out. Remember to try the other stands. to see the rest of the teas, I only have 6 of our 32 teas. And remember to check out our shop online. We are www.tealeafhaven.com. Yes, it's a bit of a silly name, but Tivana was already taken. So thank you for coming today. Alright, bye.